Good morning, Henk. Today I'm joined with a good friend of mine, Henk Stander from Stellenbosch University down in Stellenbosch in the Western Cape in South Africa. I've had the privilege of knowing Henk for many years, in fact, going into decades now. And Henk has, over the past 10 or 15 years, been getting more and more involved in aquaponics and bringing Stellenbosch University into aquaponics as well. So I thought it would be useful to get his perspective on aquaponics and what they are doing. And yeah, Henk, over to you. How did you end up in aquaponics?
Yeah, good morning, Leslie, and thank you for the opportunity. I just want to say I'm very passionate about aquaponics, but it happened as a coincidence, actually. In 2012, I was approached by a friend of mine, and he told me about this gentleman. It was an engineer who inherited some money from his father after his father passed away. And his name is Japie Mulder. And he played around with aquaponics in his backyard for about 4 or 5 years. But then he decided to basically donate 10% of his inherited money to build a community aquaponics system. And he was looking for a site to do it. And when our friend Almere Klutu introduced the two of us, and I said, but why don't you come and build it at the university's experimental farm? Because Japie also wanted the produce from this aquaponic system to go to a food scheme in Stellenbosch, which his sister, Liesel Koen, was operating at that stage. So the Stellenbosch Feeding in Action NGO is actually getting all the produce from the system as a donation. Okay. So that's how it started. And then the following year, our first master student, he was Marcus van der Merwe, and he studied sustainable agriculture at the Sustainability Institute, and he wanted to do his master's in aquaponics. And then I really started to get involved on the academic level in 2013. Yeah.
So how does aquaponics currently fit into the university's curriculum?
Well, we offer aquaponics on different levels. So we offer aquaponics training workshops on an ad hoc basis. And that is mainly for the private sector. We've trained teachers from secondary schools, NGOs, community groups, but also students. So every year I present a 2-day aquaponics training workshop to the 4th year animal science students at the university. Then we have developed a low-level aquaponics introductory course, which is an online course on the Educate24 platform. That is a 7-week introductory course on aquaponics. Unfortunately, Educate24 was sold recently to another company, LearnX, and they decided not to continue with the Aquaponics 101 course. So it's not active at the moment, but we're planning to upgrade it and to present it again on another level.
Yes.
But then we've also applied to get tertiary aquaponics accredited courses at the university. And we were successful with 2. So these are hybrid aquaponics courses on a tertiary level, and they are both accredited. The first one is called Introduction to Aquaponics Production Technology, and the second one is more Advanced Aquaponics Technology. Both of them are 16 credits, and the first one is a first semester course. It runs for about 15 weeks, and then the following one on top of that is another 16 credits, 6 months, or you can say 15 academic weeks. But the plan is now to build a postgraduate diploma in aquaponics. So these 2 modules will then slot into that program, but we will also develop some other modules to support them. For instance, a module on planning aquaponics systems and managing aquaponics systems, but also one on the business side of aquaponics. And then also one on maybe the more science behind it, scientific research on aquaponics.
Yes.
So we're working on that at the moment, and hopefully it will be active in 2025.
Okay, yes, fantastic. So that brings us on to the topic of research. What current aquaponics research are your students undertaking?
I cannot really say that we have a specific focus point. It just depends on the student and the student's background. So you know that aquaponics is multidisciplinary. So sometimes a student comes from the engineering side and he wants to do research in aquaponics. So that student will then focus on an engineering kind of topic like renewable energy or system design or something like that. Then it can also happen that the student comes from the food science faculty and they want to do, so then they will probably do something more on product development or the health issue of the food or something like that.
Yes.
So it just depends on the student and his background and the opportunities. We try to focus on niche things which wasn't really researched a lot in the past, so new things.
Okay.
Specifically, the things that you cannot see. If you think of microbes, for instance, water quality, things like that.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. So once your diploma course is up and running, do you have a particular angle of research that will accompany that, or is that coursework based a diploma?
Yeah, it's mainly coursework based. So the students will get assignments to do. And they will have to come to Stellenbosch for a practical block, say a 2-week practical session. We will do practical things like water analysis, water samples, how to take a water sample, how to do the analysis, how to measure water quality parameters, for instance. And then we will also maybe give some of them who are interested a small research topic or something to do research in. I think this is economic viability and sustainability of aquaponic systems. It can be, for instance, a good topic, but also the design, how to make it more efficient to run your system.
Yes.
And marketing, I think, is a area which is lacking. Many aquaponics commercial systems fail because of there was not enough attention given to the marketing side of the produce.
Okay, I'm with you. So would you link with a marketing department in the commerce faculty for that particular subject, or would you hold that completely in-house?
No, we will probably work with agricultural economics department. They've got a marketing expert, so maybe with him. And also, if you think of things like packaging, for instance, the food science department can also play a role there, with biodegradable packaging and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. You mentioned community involvement in terms of your initial entry into the aquaponics realm, and also in terms of the produce that is produced from the Stellenbosch University aquaponic systems that's gifted to communities. I understand that you've also built aquaponic systems that have been installed in communities in South Africa. Tell me more about these.
Okay, so originally the focus was on schools. So we assisted some of the local schools to build their own aquaponic systems. Stellenbosch Primary School, for instance, and now the Kaimandi High School is also in the process of building an aquaponic system. But then I also wear different other hats. So for instance, we've established a non-profit company with the name of Aquaponics. And Aquaponics is taking the technology of aquaponics and hydroponics to poor communities in informal areas. So Aquaponics is part of a bigger consortium. There's other NGOs, Cork and Quantu, and we're busy developing community aquaponics systems in South Africa. But we're doing it in a phased approach. So the first phase was grow bags. So we have 40 community groups all over South Africa, and they now produce vegetables in these grow bags. And then we can work with these groups, learn about them, but also select the ones which are more committed and take more ownership. And then the idea is in phase 2 to build community aquaponics systems. We have good working relationship with InMed, which is also an NGO establishing community aquaponics systems in South Africa. But then there are a lot of other initiatives. For instance, we're busy designing a building in Kailicha, and on top of this building, we're planning to build an aquaponics system. So we're playing a role there, assisting with information and advice and things like that. And a lot of time we get visitors from community groups all over South Africa. And I've even given training for groups from Lesotho who came to Stellenbosch, who wants to start aquaponics community systems. Yeah.
These systems that you build, particularly the ones through Aquaponics, will you be involved on a managerial type basis, or is this purely a case of design a system, build a system, and walk away and leave it to the communities? What will your long-term involvement be? And assuming you do have a long-term involvement, how do you, or what systems do you plan to put in place to ensure the economic and technical and social viability and ongoing sustainability of these systems?
So at the university, I don't have capacity, so I don't have people helping me, so it's only me. But in the NGOs, the plan is to build capacity. And we don't want to have an approach where it's an in and out. So to design or build a system and when you leave a community, that's set up to failure. So we want more a long-term relationship, maybe appoint a technical manager to go and visit these projects. Training is very important. But at the moment, we're also working on a software program where we can use artificial intelligence to assist these people to operate their systems more successfully. So for instance, we're busy developing a camera which takes pictures of the leaves of plants. And then that feedback, that data can give you an idea of nutrient, lack of nutrients, for instance, in the water, so that you know if there's a lack of nutrients and which nutrient is lacking, for instance.
Fantastic.
So things like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, it's unfortunately very expensive, the technology, but we're planning to make it available as affordable as possible. But I think that can assist, because we as the manager, we cannot be there all the time, but you can have a camera there or a probe there which can send the information back to you.
Correct. Yes. Are these products that are going to be available on the market, off the shelf, for other aquaponics companies as well?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. So the initiative came from this consortium, but there are now other commercial aquaponics farms in South Africa who's working on the same technology. So Mycrop is an aquaponics farm which was established end of last year on the Nederburg wine farm. And they've got exactly the same plan to develop this technology to assist communities to operate or to manage their aquaponics systems more efficiently.
Fantastic. So that's excellent, because that addresses a problem, a sustainability issue. There are many other areas that we could unpack as well in terms of cash flow management and work ethic and all sorts of other things that are traditionally found to be problems on community-based enterprises. What other hurdles are you finding that are particularly limiting on commercial aquaponics farms?
Well, there was a research paper done on this globally, and they've looked at why are some aquaponics commercial systems more successful than others. So there are various reasons for that. The one thing which I think is important is size does count. So the scale of the operation, it's very difficult on a too small aquaponics system to run it economically viable in the long term. So it must be a certain scale. You must use your space, your area very efficiently, but an aquaponics system cannot run on autopilot. So it's very important that there must be focus. The operator or the person who's managing it, that must be his core business. He cannot do it as a sideline, and there must be somebody who's focusing on it. And if you go now and look at on the commercial aquaponics systems in South Africa, which are successful, you will find at each of them, there's somebody who's committed, is focused, and is paying enough attention to the system to operate it well, is doing good market research. The marketing side, I think it's also very important. It's easy to grow the vegetables, but it's not so easy to sell them. And people laugh when I tell them that, but have you ever tried to sell 10,000 lettuce seeds? It's not so easy.
No, that's right. There's an old adage or an old saying, the best fertilizer on the farm are the farmer's footprints. And that's exactly what you're saying there. It's that attention to detail. It's the presence, the physical and engagement presence of the owner or manager, whichever it is. Henk, you've given us some lovely insights. Is there anything else that you want to add in conclusion?
No, I think aquaponics is definitely something for the future. Even if we go out to space, this technology can play a big role in food security on the planet, in marginal areas, but also in space in the future. And it's healthy food. So I'm 100% for aquaponics, and I hope it will expand a lot in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. And we wish you all the very best with your endeavors at Stellenbosch University, both the academic research endeavors within the university and the endeavors outside of the university. It sounds like you have got a very busy few years coming up ahead of you. And I wish you all the very best with that.
Thank you very much. And please come and visit again.
Lovely. Thank you, Henk.